Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Exponential Potential. And May has been all about conflict and resilience. And we have a really interesting, juicy topic for you today. Harnessing energy flow to resolve conflict in your space. And I'm joined by the wonderful, esteemed Feng Shui expert and space healing master, Danijela sorry, I'm getting all tongue-tied. I've been practicing this. Saponjic. Can you pronounce it for me, Danijela?
Yes, Saponjic.
Saponjic. Thank you. I was practicing because I'm used to foreign names, but Saponjic, of course, Saponjic. So Danijela is an esteemed Feng Shui and space healing master, renowned for her unique approach that seamlessly merges the best practices of both modalities. With over 20 years of experience, she has established herself as a transformative force in the industry, dedicated to consulting businesses and homeowners, purifying energy fields, and creating harmonious spaces that thrive and evolve. As the founder of the prestigious School of Spiritual Design, Danijela extends her expertise by teaching Feng Shui and space healing, empowering and inspiring practitioners to tap into their intuitive abilities and make a meaningful impact in their clients' lives. So hello and welcome, Danijela. It's lovely that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Jen. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful and very excited for our conversation today.
Yes, yeah, me too. I've dabbled. I understand energy, but I've not really brought in to my home so much, other than I do clearing space. But I'm really interested to see where this conversation leads and to see what comes up. So first of all, can you explain to our listeners what you mean by conflict in our space?
Well, there is conflict if the energy of our space is tuned into another frequency than we want to go. So if you have a vision and this vision has a frequency and you're working on personal level, on soul level to tune your frequency into this future energy you want to go, in the direction you want to go. But mostly what I have experienced in my work, we completely forget to tune the space energy into the same frequency we are or we want to be. And of course, there is a conflict we don't necessarily need. We just need to be aware of it. And then we can, take our space with us on our journey.
That makes sense. Especially, for those that understand energy and frequency. So you're talking about the vibration of your vision.
Yeah.
Or your space needs to match that vibration of your vision, as you say, that frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, sometimes I know when I'm with clients and they are, successful entrepreneurs or have great careers, and then they're like, oh, my study is still when I was when I was studying at the university and I still have this desk. I mean, there's nothing bad about it, but it's, it's carrying the past energy. And probably when you study, your desk is not just as big as you want your company to be. So there is just this conflict indeed. So where we can really resolve it by using Feng Shui and energy work in our space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. And when you come into an office space or any space, whether it's a bedroom, a kitchen, and it's not, and it's really cluttered, a clear space equals a clear mind. But you're talking about deeper than that, aren't you? We're going deeper than just the clearing the clutter away.
Yeah, I mean, the clearing the clutter away is the very first step we really, really need to do in order to create space so that energy can flow. So this is in Feng Shui, we often forget the to, you know, doing all the remedies and putting stuff up. Usually when I go to clients, I tell them to take away all the Feng Shui remedies they have, because usually they would even add more clutter to their home instead of the other way around. So the first thing is always decluttering, because this is where we create space for the chi to flow. And then when starting from this new, energy, we start creating the new thing. And you know, there is just another example coming to my mind. Very often when a relationship ends, there is a lot of grief, there are a lot of emotions. And in Feng Shui, we say you should change your bed, change your mattresses. But you know, very often we forget about, you know, letting go really from the heart. We start with the heart, the heartache, and the emotions, and then just take a look in your space and let go the old energy if you're ready for it. So if it means changing, you know, when I just need to tell this little story. When I was grieving, when I was a teenager, and when I was heartbroken, the very first thing I did, I started moving my furniture around. I had a little room, so the bed would be on one side and then the desk would be on the other. I just needed to change the layout of the space. I couldn't buy or afford every time new furniture, but I just needed to change something. So I mean, I did not have any idea that this was connected to Feng Shui and energy and all these things. But now, in retrospect, I see this was so important to me, because then I could start feeling differently. And this is sometimes something we forget, especially after relationship, you know, breakup, for example.
That was sort of deep in your it was very intuitive to do that, wasn't it? And that goes nicely into my next question, in terms of how did you become interested in healing space and Feng Shui? What sort of got you started into that area?
It's really funny, because I was doing things I wasn't aware of when I was a teenager. My goal was always to work in marketing in the corporate world. This is what I have planned for my whole life. I studied business administration and marketing at the University of Applied Sciences in Munich. I went to the States for a year to learn English. Then I returned and I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then nobody wanted me. Like, you know, I was young, I was married, I had a child. So it was, you know, very different. Like, it was a different situation. And I remember I was even working at a fast food restaurant, because I couldn't stand doing nothing. I have never done, like, I was never in the state where I was just doing nothing. So, and then I was reading about clutter clearing, and they were saying, if you change something in your home, if you clutter clear your home, your life will change. And I didn't believe it, Jen. I was just like, there is no way there is a connection between those two worlds. But since I couldn't get lower, I told my husband, let's try this with this, you know, clutter clearing thing, you know. So we clutter cleared our small apartment, and it's always nice and tidy, but we had so much clutter, Jen. You couldn't even imagine. You couldn't imagine. And then just 2 days after we finished clutter clearing, we got a yes for a new apartment. We were waiting for a month to move to a nicer city area of the city. And the next one was, we were expecting some government payments for a half a year, and they came in 2 days after we clutter cleared our home. So you can call it coincidence if you believe in coincidences. I don't. But back then I was like, okay, there is a connection. And this is how I started. And I was just 25 years old when the journey began, and just like right off school, and everybody was hoping for me to get a job so we could have more money, you know. Well, it didn't work out this way.
And do you think part of that is by taking action in an area, like you're physically clearing clutter, you're setting you're doing more than setting an intention, you're acting on that intention. Do you think, is that interlinked with clearing space and clutter and shifting the energy of where you are, but also shifting your energy internally to take action and move forward?
Oh yes, Jen, you're just talking about something I started to talk more about just recently. It's not just clutter clearing, it's not just smudging, it's not just, you know, putting it, turning things around. It's the intention which activates your feng shui. It's not the item. It's not, you know, just moving things around. It's really your intention. So this is something I've been talking about even more and more, because otherwise energy will be like water. If you have a dam and you lift the dam and the water will just splash and it will just flow somewhere. So if you don't have an intention, we will clutter clear and we will lift the dam and the energy will just go and then, you know, it will be gone. It will move something and then it will be gone, and we'll be like, oh, but I hope this would move and that move. But just think about, before you start doing anything in your space, just like in your life, think, what's the intention? Why do I want to start changing the frequency of my home, the vibration of my home? And this is what's going to guide you, like a red thread will, you know, you will weave it into the new energy you are creating.
Yeah, that's, yes, that feels really grounding, but it also feels, you can feel the energy in that, you can feel the movement in that, and the synchronicities and things, how things start to move. So what does conflict look like to somebody? There's clutter and things, but what would you sort of suggest that we look out for in our spaces? How do we notice conflict in our space?
So here's a short story. I have a friend, and she did a very deep coaching, and she was away for 1 month from her home, and many things shifted in her personality. So when she came back a month later, she called me and she's like, I loved my apartment, and now I just don't feel a connection to it anymore. Something's wrong. What happened to my home? Like, I don't know. Is there any energy, entities, or something? What happened? Right? So she was really like, I love my home, but something's wrong. So nothing was wrong with her home, but there was a conflict because she was, you know, was on a deep transformational journey for 1 month away from home. And she came renewed. And then her home was just where she left it off, and there was this huge conflict. So we went back and was like, okay, now you open up your heart for your home and see what needs to adjust to your new energy level, to where you are right now. And then, you know, it's sometimes it is feng shui remedies, but sometimes just like look around and look at the pictures, look at the decoration, look at all the things, because this is things we very often put up subconsciously. We're like, oh, I feel like I like this picture, and we put it up. So, but we were in a state of mind, state of being when we chose this picture. So in her situation, when she came back, she was in a completely different state of mind. And this picture did not relate to her anymore. So the very first step is to ground yourself, to take a few deep breaths, to be clear on what is it, where I'm moving towards to. And then with this in your energy field, you open your eyes and you really scan your home. You look through your home or your office and look what's not in tune with the way I'm, like, where I'm moving towards to.
So you're creating space in your mind,
Yeah.
To ground yourself and to tap into your intuitive,
Mm-hmm.
your inner guidance, because you will be guided, won't you, when you create that space, so that you create a better space. So you're creating space internally, but you're creating space externally as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
And what have you seen? So when you work with somebody, and you go on the journey with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
It's all right. We're audio and we're for those that aren't watching the video, Daniela's nodding her head. Yeah. I do it all the time as well, because we can see each other.
I'm just taken with your words and how you put things together. I'm just like, yeah. So.
Thank you. So you work with somebody, And if you want, we can do that as well. You can go through how you work with somebody in a bit more detail. But I want to know, and I'm sure listeners want to know, what have you seen happen? What are the, when you've worked with somebody and they've cleared that space and they've raised the frequency of the area, whether they're working in, or whether it's their kitchen, their bedroom, their office, what have you seen? What have your clients experienced when they've done this healing space in Feng Shui?
You know, the one of the most profound and touching experiences I had were women or families getting pregnant with, you know, it was just so moving, because I just remember one family. I'm still working with them. It's been a process for many years. We built their home together, and when the lady, the mother came to me, she's like, okay, we have this this land and we want to build this home. And then we were working on, okay, why do you want to build this home? What is the energy you're bringing it in? Before we even started to plan the feng shui, so we just set the intention. And she's like, oh, I feel like I've been trying to get pregnant and it didn't really work. And I really I feel there is more children coming, but I want to create the space for my family. And this was the intention. And, you know, Jen, we had this first conversation, we just started to work. And a few weeks later, she called me and she said, you know, I think I got pregnant right after our conversation. And then we, you know, worked together for a year, as long as the home needed to be built. And the beautiful thing is, within this year, her child was born. They are now a family with 3 children, and they moved in. And even today, she is always saying feng shui, and we working together, creating the space, was really crucial. It was really I think you say the tipping point of opening the space, so that she was able to receive and keep this pregnancy. And, you know, this beautiful child was born then. And this is one of my most humbling and most beautiful experiences I had during my work. And she's not the only one. I had quite a few situations like this.
Wow, that's incredible. That is really incredible. So do you think the link between clearing your space and the intention and falling pregnant, is there an element of that because you're doing these things and there's action but it seems like there's an internal transformation that happens as well?
Yes, absolutely. Because in feng shui, it's not I'm here and my space is there. You are your space. Your space is your second skin. So, and under our skin, so our skin is holding our body together. We have the system. So our home is holding our body, our life together. So as we change, we can always have a change starting from within, going without, but we can also start a change in your life by working outside of our bodies, and then the changes move in. And feng shui is one of the oldest coaching practices out there. It's 5,000 years old, and it's still, you know, it has this profound not only message and depth, but it has a lot of experience, like 5,000 years, Jen. And it's always growing. With every experience is growing. With every teaching, it's growing. There is no end to it. It's a philosophy of life. So I love to teach feng shui, not like, oh, everybody can do it intuitively. We can do a lot out of intuition if we are connected. But feng shui is not really checking off a list. Oh, I need to activate this, so I put this in a corner. I need to activate. So, and it's really a connection between intuition, wisdom, knowledge. And then when you form this, then you can see, okay, how do we need to express it in our space?
So that comes from things like decor, artwork, the positioning of things, how
the colors,
the colors and light.
Because our space cannot talk. So when we are doing personal development, we can feel, we can talk, we can express ourselves. often you start dressing differently. Then you'd cut your hair, or you let there is all these different kinds how we can bring it to expression, the change we feel within. And without in the space, when we start changing the energy, we express it with furniture, with decoration, with colors, just as you said.
Mm-hmm. And that as well is a lovely experience.
Mm-hmm.
You feel when you're doing things like that. And I'm looking around, I'm in my studio today, and it's a very creative studio, and it's a music studio as well, because my husband's a musician. But I'm looking at it, and there's paperwork everywhere, and there's clutter, and I can feel the two energies. I can feel the energy of the creativity aspect, and the guitars and the music and things up on the walls, and there's a whole shelves of CDs behind me. But I also can feel there's things that need to happen in here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that I feel that there's a lot that needs to happen in here, not just clearing away the paperwork and organizing it, but it goes more than that. So yeah, I really do, I do feel that. So that's a really good. So moving on from that, I just want you to highlight, so what you said earlier, about where you would start with your space. So what a couple of things that you can advise our listeners around the tools that they can start to make a difference in the space?
Oh, absolutely. So there is this, I always call it butterfly exercise. We will send you the link for the show notes, Jen. And it's a very, very simple exercise, short meditation, where I guide you to connect to your space. So by becoming a butterfly, so changing the perspective and just seeing your space from a very different angle, different view, so that you can really see what does your space need. You can start talking to your space in this exercise. You can ask your space, what do you need me to do? How can I support you? You can really team up with your space. So this is because then you're not like reading a recommendation like, oh, okay, this sounds good, let's put this somewhere, or just do it. So you really tune into your space. And another one, which is so powerful, is in Feng Shui, we have this expression, what you see is what you get. Okay, so when you, again, breathe deeply, connect to your home, ground yourself, and then you go, if I get what I see, do I like what I see in my home or in my office? Do I want to get this? Do I want to recreate what I'm seeing over and over and over? Or is there a time, or is now the right time to change it? And this can start with, as we just said, just if you don't like a picture anymore, just take it off. You don't need to put another one on. Just take it off. Just create a space. Whatever it is, it can start really, you don't need to renovate your home. You don't need to move, or you just start with what you have. I always feel, Jen, that there is so much potential in our space, and you don't need any money to tap into the potential. You need time, and you just need to connect, and then you need to take inspired action.
Yeah, and a lot of people might be saying, but I don't have time.
I know.
But how important is this? If you can create a space where you're more productive, more effective, more successful,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that has to be more important than the day-to-day of it's about carving out that time in that space, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a mother of 4 children, and I have my business. My husband has his own business. We have just moved. We live between Germany and Serbia, so we have a crazy life, and time is very precious. But when I am in a situation where I don't have time and I'm not really satisfied with the situation I'm in, then I ask myself, am I ready to be okay with the consequence of me not taking the time and continuing what I'm doing to recreate what I don't like right now. And if my answer is no, there will be time to make some change, definitely, because it looks like a step back, but it's going to catapult me a few steps forward when I'm done with the change I need to do in my space.
So again, it's tapping into yourself, and listening to, is it time to do that now, or is there a better time? Can I create some space shortly, or within the next week, or the next few days, or the next month?
Yeah. You know, there was this, if I can share just quickly, there was a situation, my youngest son, he was struggling at school. And usually all my children, they did their homework at the kitchen table because they're close to me. And so it was all fine. So with him, we saw he was struggling. And then the teacher called me one day, and I had so many things to do. And she's like, oh, we feel we need to talk, and Luca needs more support and so on. And I had this, I always call them downloads. I just saw in my, in my vision that Luca needs his own space where he can work. So I went to, I bought him an office desk and everything. So instead of working, I was putting together this desk, creating his space. It was just so crazy. But you know what? The next day, the child calmed down, and I had a lot more freedom, and so did he. And it was a very well invested time I did for this situation.
You just needed some quiet space, a proper workspace, and not the
Everybody's
kitchen table.
different.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it worked for 3 children, but not for this one. So,
And that would be part of your expertise, helping pull that from somebody so that they know what's right for them.
Yeah. And what has priority? Because not everything has a priority. Sometimes you're like, oh, I have so many things to do. What is the first thing? And then because often clients tell me, I would love to do a consultation, but I don't have time to implement it. And then I tell them, you know what? The most powerful Feng Shui doesn't take a lot of time. So this is why you need an expert when you start working with Feng Shui. Otherwise, you will do a lot of little things which might not bring the big shift.
Yes, because you can, it's like anything, isn't it? Whether around coaching and consultancy and strategy sessions and things. Yes, you can read up about things. But it takes an expert to really pull that through for you, to guide you, because they have years of expertise in the area, and you can read as many books as you like, but it still won't have the impact, and you lose a lot of time and energy rather than going to speak to somebody like you that's an expert in the field and that's been doing this for 20 years and having incredible results. So how can people find you? How can they connect with you to find out more and work with you, Danijela?
Okay, so you can always, we will send you a link for your show notes, Jen, of course, but you can always find me on my website, unfolding-space.com, as well as on Instagram. It's also unfolding, then underline space, underline EN for English. So those are the 2 places where you can always find me and get in touch with me.
Okay, and yes, those links will be in the information in the description. Is there anything else? And you mentioned the gift, that lovely, beautiful butterfly meditation where you can tap into your space and see what your space needs. Is there anything else that you would like to add, Danijela?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for giving me the space. So I'm very excited that we are bringing my teaching to the English-speaking community worldwide. So I've been teaching Feng Shui and space healing for more than 10 years in Germany, in the German language. And now we are bringing the space activation certification to the English-speaking community. It's something very special, which I have developed, which connects Feng Shui and space healing in a very, very special way, so that you can, use it for yourself, add it to your business, create a business out of it. And we are just, picking up the most powerful teachings from two worlds and putting it together. So I'm very excited for the space activation to start at the end of May.
Fantastic. That is amazing. And as you're saying, bringing those two modalities together, there's nobody else doing that. It's totally unique. And again, healing space. When you're healing space, you're healing and transforming yourself.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Danijela. It's been a pleasure. And please reach out to her if you want to find out more, and you're feeling overwhelmed or you feel that you need to shift your space. And I know when I'm not happy in a space, I have those uncomfortable feelings in my stomach, like butterflies, and it can create, as I think about it, it can become, your space becomes overwhelming and can create anxiety as well. So if you're feeling that, or you just want to improve on that space, I love the example that you gave where someone actually connected with you to help build their home. That must have been an amazing project to work on.
Oh yeah, so beautiful.
And the outcome of that, incredible.
Yeah, because you are the one where your clients can share feelings with you. The architects, they are busy like taking care that the house is standing, right? They have so many things to think about, and then all the feelings, so we can take care of the feelings, and and then when we team up, everything, beautiful things happen.
And I would also imagine, just before we go, because you work with businesses as well, I would imagine that helping the team dynamic, creating resolving and using energy flow to resolve any conflict in that space, that must have a massive impact on the environment and the dynamics of a team.
Oh, Jen, absolutely. So Feng Shui for business is so strategic. It's really amazing. It just, when sometimes people cannot tap into their full potential because their placement is very, very wrong. So what happens, the employer says, oh, I had so many hopes for this person to do this, this, and that, but he or she are not transforming. Then I look at the workspace, I'm like, well, I wouldn't transform here either. You wouldn't too, because, they are completely blocked. They don't see anything. They're just sitting in a very, like, it's not going to work. So take this person and place it somewhere else. Then we look for the right placement, and all of a sudden this person is performing. So the employer would have lost a lot of potential on this person. So I could go on with this topic more, because I love it. It's so much power, and it's pretty simple. We just need to know, we need to have the knowledge and the wisdom to know how to use this strategy to create successful businesses.
Yes, I see that totally. And for those forward-thinking leaders, have a look at Danijela's website and reach out. So thank you again. Thank you very much, listeners, for watching, for listening. And you know what to do. If you like the episode, if you've enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps us to continue bringing you great content and wonderful guests. Thank you so much, Danijela. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Until next time. Bye-bye.